If this is what you want, you have to step out of your what if. You are doing what you want. You have to make your dreams a reality. And you are the ingredient to that piece. So I encourage you to find all the support that you need. If you can't physically find it, go somewhere where they'll find it for you and support you. You don't have to be the catalyst. Other people can be the catalyst for you. The assistance will come. You just have to be willing to put yourself in the place where you're going to be taken care of.
Hey guys, we are so super happy to have Sasha back. Sasha Hannum, who we spoke to with regards to having had a stillbirth and how she persevered. And when she was pregnant, I think it's really enlightening to be able to go through someone's head about what transpires after a stillbirth. Like, are you calm when you get pregnant next? I hardly doubt it. So I think this is a really important topic. What do you think?
I think it's very important.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So let's get to it. When we are talking about you trying again, as a recap, you actually went through the fertility clinic.
Yes.
Can you share with us about that and then the actual pregnancy?
So trying again, perfectionist tendencies. I wanted to make sure that I dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. So I wanted to see this step by step by step. Natural feels great. However, I needed more assistance, and fertility clinic was where I was going to. So from cycle monitoring right through, I went back and had a plan and decided that that's what I was going to go with.
Before you go on, just as a recap, and because some of people might not have heard the episode or watched it, so go back to the last episode because Sasha told about her story and how she went through her stillbirth. But today we're going to, look at a more positive side once you got pregnant again and how you navigated that journey and how you would do that without driving yourself completely bonkers because just lots of fear and worry around that.
100%. So took a long vacation after my stillbirth, did a really great trip, came back with a plan and went to the fertility clinic. 1 year later, after trying, I was pregnant and very happy.
At what age?
39. Very happy. However, we had some things to do in order to calm the anxiety because I was super anxious at every moment. Every moment I wanted a check, every moment I wanted a swab, every moment I wanted an ultrasound, which was great because fertility offered that for at least 4 months. So yeah. I got weekly checkups and that's exactly what I needed, which I have to say is the most positive thing about fertility. It's the guidance and how you're followed and how you feel protected in your pregnancy once you get pregnant. After that, my doctors that I was released to also followed up with that care until 6 months. So I was getting exactly what I needed to calm my nerves.
Well, let's deal with the reality of this, though. So you say week to week you would get more testing done. But is there a reality that you might have calm in the second or in the moment of getting the positive news with every test, but then do you walk away worrying about what's going to happen between that test and the second test?
You walk away worrying about what you're going to eat. You walk away worrying about whether or not you should be walking. You walk away worrying about quite a bit of things. And yes, you are anxious for every test. So you are living a little bit of a roller coaster, going through the anxiety. So other things have to be put into place. Like you have to have calming modalities. Still, I functioned with acupuncture and still I made sure that I got weekly massages.
All right. So we want to actually address this. Thank you for bringing this up. There are people that think that perhaps once you do the embryo transfer, that it could be dangerous to do acupuncture. Or once that you're pregnant, you can't do acupuncture. And that is not a reality. So we need to debunk that myth right away.
Absolutely. Actually, I would say before the embryo transfer, you should book your acupuncture right after the embryo. I think I saw you fully that day, post. I had my IVF nurse at my house. Everybody, my entire village was on call for the 24 hours of the embryo transfer and after that. So it's very important, actually, to have all of those things on hand, all your tools on hand whilst you're doing this. I shouldn't say you can't. I would not suggest that you do embryo transfer without having the support of everybody else around you.
Was there a time in your pregnancy where you kind of breathed and went, I think it's going to be okay? Was there like a transitional point for you?
I felt that this time around, I was doing everything properly because I was so supported. And I was supported the first time around, but I knew the possibilities of everything that I felt could happen to me. And I felt good. I felt good in my space. And everybody around me greeted me with smiles and just love. So I felt great. And that feeling of feeling great was translated to my baby. So the fear was definitely eradicated after the first trimester.
So meaning then, okay, this is an important piece too. So a lot of people will tell me if they've had any kind of loss, they'll say, you know what, I can't connect with this potential baby because what if something bad happens? Did you do that? And not at all.
No, I would play my favorite song and my baby would be jumping in my belly. Like she loved everything I loved. I wanted to eat everything. I cried all these cravings that I never had. And it was COVID, so it was just me and my baby. Like we were bonding tightly, probably, tighter than anything I've ever done. And it was something I wanted so badly that everything about it was to make it the most positive thing in my life.
Wow. What it really says is that you were able to let go of the past and connect with your present, the presence of this life within you, which is different than the life of Max, who was your stillbirth baby.
And I owed it to Max. Max did everything properly. He did everything he was supposed to do, right? He gave me the strength to try again. I owed it to him to be positive. There was nothing negative about him because he was a dream. So I owed it to him to make all our dreams a reality and do everything I had to do to celebrate what he gave me, which was another chance. That's how I looked at it, right? And we speak of him every day. We tell our child that it's her brother. We have the picture of his feet. We owed it to him to try again. That's how we felt.
Wow. So what will you tell someone right there that's listening, that is in that depth of darkness and think, what if it happens again? What do you tell this person?
If this is what you want, you have to step out of your what if. You are doing what you want. You have to make your dreams a reality. And you are the ingredient to that piece. So I encourage you to find all the support that you need. If you can't physically find it, go somewhere where they'll find it for you and support you. You don't have to be the catalyst. Other people can be the catalyst for you. The assistance will come. You just have to be willing to put yourself in the place where you're going to be taken care of.
Wow.
Trust that you will be taken care of if you ask to be taken care of. Trust it. That's what I would say. Because everything is divine.
Did you go to a support group?
I did not go to a support group, but I did go to quite a few therapists.
Right.
And I found my support in them. And within them, they also encouraged me to also establish my village. So it was a reoccurring message. It was constant. And that's all I heard. And sometimes you need to block the noise and only hear the one message. And it's the message you want to hear.
That's great. And you said it earlier, and I forget if it's actually this episode or the last one, but sometimes the village that you're born with may not necessarily be your best village.
Absolutely.
Right?
Choose your village. You get choice in this matter now. If you get a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance, remember they are all up to you to design. Sometimes we get to design, and that is the greatest thing.
I love that you are comfortable enough to share with your daughter and talk about Max openly to her. I do the same thing with my children. My daughter's name is Phoenix, which I don't know if you know is like the rebirth. And we had several miscarriages. And so they know, and they're like, Mom, you're crazy. Is that why you like love hard? And like there's this movie called Mitchells and the Machines, I think it's called, where the mom goes into like mama bear mode to protect her kids. And I know that all moms have this regardless of the history, but they're just like, like they joke because they're older now, like 6 and 10. And it's like, that this like passionate love when you've had, I guess, the loss in there. So they know it's, you're open about it with your children. And they, like, I think the conversation needs to be started young so that kids know there are these possibilities and that they, know once in a while if you're triggered, they're like, oh, Mom's having a little moment or whatever, even if you have a village. I'm curious if you ever get triggered or if you what happens in those moments. If you do, even in the postpartum window, would you then just reach back out to your village, or do you get triggered by
you get triggered all the time. Even in trying after, I did not want to see one pregnant person. It's a natural feeling, right? And even in pregnancy, right? With seeing people have simple pregnancies or people that have 7 children, right? And you're trying for one. It is the human element. We are hurt, and our hurt is real. So of course, and even to this day, I celebrate my daughter and I celebrate Max. But, I see when people have losses, and I see other things, and that triggers me too, but it triggers me to encourage as well.
Yeah.
Because I want to be the support that they don't have. And that triggers come from a lack of support as well. So it's in a moment where you felt so vulnerable that you couldn't share and you couldn't be and you couldn't speak your truth, right? And it'd be accepted as how you were feeling without being defined by somebody else. So yes, I do get triggered, but I also note how amazing it is to overcome and be supported.
Yeah.
And that is greater. That is greater than anything else, because that allows me to be, to try, to dream, to execute. And so it's great.
Now you know why I wanted Sasha on this podcast. Isn't she awesome? So if you like this episode, please subscribe and share with everybody, because I think everybody needs to know this, whether they've had losses or not.
Absolutely.
Because it's also the ability to share with others and empathize when others have losses. If you've had the ability to conceive like lickety split and had no problems, right? Like sometimes there's a lack of understanding. So I think every human on the planet should listen to this episode. And next, we're actually going to talk about Sasha and how to confront life as is with a young toddler, because it doesn't stop at trying to conceive or during pregnancy. It just keeps on going because we're ultimately being faced with challenges like our whole time. There's real life stressors. So join us for that. But before we do, is there anything else that you want to say to people that are trying and or are currently pregnant and having some stress and anxiety around it?
Don't count your options out. You may have a plan, but know that there are so many other plans that are out there. So even in a moment of defeat, take your time. But if you really want to, there's a plethora of things that you can do. It's not over. Do not feel defeated forever, okay? It can happen. It can happen however it needs to happen. Just be encouraged.